So, hi guys, it's Carrie with Rockin' G Farm. Well, I am probably about 3 or 4 weeks late on doing this, but we're still having some cool days and some cool nights, and I have some flowers and some plants that some need cold to germinate and some just germinate a little bit longer and will do okay in the cold, so I'm going to use that to my advantage. Well, if you've never been watching my videos before, go ahead and hit a subscribe button and watch our videos. If you like my videos, give me a thumbs up. That helps to get my videos out to be seen by other people, and also sharing videos and commenting on the videos. Also, tell me if you've ever done the winter method of growing seeds. This is what I'm doing. I have done this for I think the last 2 years, and I've really have got some good results from that. And since I'm running a little behind this year, I'm just gonna go ahead and try to see if I can get some of these plants started, which still need a little bit of cold stratification, or some are just going to take a little bit longer to germinate and will do fine out in the cold. So with that being said, let me show you what I did. So I went and bought a calendar for next year. I just got it at the Dollar Tree just so that I could have a big calendar. I love the birds on it. Just made me feel like, oh yes, summer's coming. But what I did, I went through and I counted back to my last frost date, which right now we are at 8 weeks before our last frost date, and that will be April 15th for us here. And so what I did, I went through and counted how many weeks back until our last frost date I needed to get seeds started. So I went ahead, and all of these seeds, I've just went back and said, okay, I have to have them done by this week. I have to have them in the ground by this week. And when I mean in the ground, it's either going to be the winter sowing method, or actually in peat pots or trays in my laundry room under grow lights. So that's what we're doing right now. And so today, what I've got are some mostly flowers and some herbs that need to be put in my milk jugs and outside so that they can go ahead and do their thing, so I can get to more of my vegetables and what needs to be indoors because they need warmth and more underneath the lights. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to plant sweet peas. My daughter loves sweet peas. So I'm going to do these and just kind of plant them in all of my containers around the farm this spring. So sweet peas need cool weather. So I need to get these started now so they'll be big enough in 8 weeks to put them into the containers with my other plants for outside. And a lot of you know that I really, really want to make the farm a monarch butterfly sanctuary. So what we're going to do, we are going to plant tons of milkweed into our milk jugs for the monarch butterflies. And this is super, super easy. I always have an amazing, great germination with my milkweeds in the winter sowing method in the milk jugs, along with echinacea. Echinacea does great in the milk jugs. And this year I'm going to add something new. I've got a lot of bachelor buttons, so I'm going to do those in milk jugs also. I've got a red and a white and then a mix. So we're going to do those, and we're just going to put those out into the flower beds and also into some containers along with plants, because you can go ahead and do that. You're getting some ice. Oh, so we're going to do that because my soil is like really, really, it's either really sandy or it's really compact clay soil. So most of my plants, my ornamental plants around the farm, are going to be in big, humongous pots. So that is why I am planting a lot of flower seeds so I can go in those pots and plant underneath the trees and the shrubs the extra pretty flowers to give me lots of color. So the bachelor buttons, the sweet peas. I'm also going to do some violas because I want some spring color, and I'll be planting those up in some hanging baskets around the house outside. And I've got some snapdragons right here, so we'll be doing those, and because my daughter loves snapdragons also, and also lavender. I really haven't had a great success with lavender. Some people are really successful with doing cold stratification in the refrigerator with their lavender. The times that I've done that, I'm just not getting any germination. So I've been using the winter sowing method, and I get more germination for my lavender. So if you're having issues with doing lavender, try the winter sowing method. And of course, if you're still having some cold weather outside, it's great to go ahead and do your lavender. Like I said, we're just like today, it is really warm outside. I would say it's probably 60 degrees, probably not, maybe 55, but you know, it's been really cold, and so it feels like 60. So today it's really bright and sunny, and it's warm, and it's okay because I know that the cool weather is going to be creeping back in, so I'm going to go ahead and do my lavender. I have 2 different types of lavender that I'm going to do, and I'll use 2 separate milk jugs for that. I am also going to start cabbage, and I don't think I'll do my broccoli. I think I'll do my broccoli here underneath grow lights. Let's see what else we've got. Well, we're just going to do those for right now because that's quite a bit. And I've got maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 milk jugs to do that in. So let's go ahead and get started on this. So what you need to begin, you will need milk jugs that are like this, or you can see through, because you still need to have some sunlight to penetrate the milk jug to cause germination for your seeds. You don't want the yellow milk jugs or ones that you can't see through. The sun will still shine through. So you need numerous of those to go ahead and make sure they're washed out really well. I didn't use any kind of soap or anything. I just rinsed them out and shook them real good, and then poured the water out and then just let them dry. You don't have to worry about keeping lids because we are wanting water or rain moisture to come into the top of the milk jug to water the soil and your seeds. Let me stir my coffee here. It's still a little warm, so I'm letting it cool down right here. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to need your milk jugs. You will need some potting mix, and with the winter sowing method, you really don't need seed starting mix. Potting mix will be just fine as long as there are not large debris particles in that soil. So we are going to cut these and put some water drainage holes in the bottom. Let me show you that real quick. So as you saw, I just cut the milk jug in half. I left the handle attached so that we can put the top back on and make it kind of like a terrarium so that the moisture can stay in. They're protected from a little bit of the elements, and the seeds can germinate in safety in their little milk carton. So what I've got now, we're gonna just have them open. I did put the drain holes in the bottom. You don't want to have your seed rot, so you make sure that you always have good drainage in any pot that you plant your plants or your seeds in. So I've got some basic potting mix, and I'm just going to put that into the bottom of my milk jugs and get it pretty close to the top of the area where I cut it off. And then I am going to pack it down. Make sure you do pack it down a little bit. I did notice that sometimes if I didn't pack it down, when I would move the jugs around, the soil would start to kind of split a little bit and some of the seeds would become exposed. So make sure that you always kind of pack it down a little bit and let it get into all the nooks and crannies of your milk jug. So I think I might put just a tad more soil in there. And this soil does have some fertilizer already in it, so that does help when your plants start to grow. This year I am going to try to keep a close eye on them, and when they start having their probably about 4 true leaves, I'm going to pull them out of this and pot them up, just so that I make sure that I don't lose any of my seedlings, because I have lost them before because I left them too long in the milk jug. So we have that. You can kind of see how full it is, just probably about an inch from the top of where we cut the milk jug. And I'm going to go ahead and get some seeds. So let's go ahead and get, how about some white bachelor buttons? 3 to 4 weeks before last frost. Indoors, we're not doing them indoors, so we're doing them outside. They germinate between 60 and 65 degrees, so we're great with the bachelor buttons. Okay. Ooh, those are big seeds. And they need to be planted, let's see, 1/4 of an inch deep. Pull that back out of the way. I'm gonna get some seeds in here. They kind of look like miniature marigold seeds. If you can see those. I am just going to pot those pretty close together so that I can have a lot of plants and make this be productive for me and a time saver. I'm giving them probably about an inch in between each seed, and I will just easily manipulate them apart if they are too close. Once I try to get the plants that germinate and start growing into the other pots, I'll be real gentle trying to pull those apart. Okay, let's put one right there and one right over there. Okay, I'll put the rest of these white ones back in. And since they only need to be under about 1/4 of an inch, I'm just going to push them in with a skewer stick and just barely kind of tap them in underneath the soil, because the soil's really loose and I'm able just to push them right under. Really super easy. I'm just going to easily kind of manipulate the top of the soil just to make sure that everything is covered. Gonna get just a little handful and just kind of sprinkle on top just to make sure that everything is covered. We are going to water these in, which I probably should have gotten the soil moist to begin with, but I'm just going to try this. I think it'll be a lot easier just to put the soil in this, not have to worry about it being real moist. It is a little moist, it's not dry, but we'll just go ahead and water in right here on the tray. Okay, I am going going to look now to make sure I haven't displaced any of the seeds. And if we haven't, we'll continue on with our next step. There's one that's kind of showing out a little bit. Soil on top of that one. Our next step is going to make sure that we tag this milk carton properly. I am notorious for forgetting to tag my plants or my seeds, and then when I put them out into the garden or into container beds, I don't know what I have until they start blooming. So anyway, I'm going to make sure that I tag it really well. You're going to need some duct tape. I have bright yellow duct tape because I love color. So we're just gonna write white bachelor buttons because this is what I have. And I believe this, my garden marker that I got out of the greenhouse is dry. So I need to go find another marker real quick. Okay, we're just going to tag it now. Then you're going to get your duct tape and you are going to seal up the edges of the milk carton. So we're just sealing that up so that the lid will stay closed and any rodents or hopefully any cats or dogs will be deterred from getting into your milk cartons. I am also going to write on top of my jug, that is the dead one, white bachelor buttons. Just so that if for some reason this gets wiped off, hopefully this won't get wiped off either. Okay guys, that is simple, easy peasy, and the water's dripping out of the bottom. So we're good to go. So what I'm gonna do with these now, I'm just gonna go set them on the outside of my greenhouse. They will get early morning sunlight and they will be protected from any weather as far as wind coming through and hopefully hail. So that's easy, and I'm going to just continue to do this with all of the seeds that I need to get started that can withstand cold weather for germination. This method will not work with tomatoes or peppers or okra. Those plants and seeds need a lot of heat to grow and to germinate, and this method will not work. You will have to do anything that is a warm weather plant or seed. You'll have to do those in a greenhouse or in your house, and probably even on heat mats. These plants and seeds now that I am starting, they do not require heat to germinate. As far as like 75 degrees or above, or 70 or above, these will tolerate the cool weather so that they will have some cold stratification if it's needed, and then they will start germinating when the temperature gets to the particular seed's liking, and then we'll have some wonderful seedlings to get out into the landscape and into the garden, and I am so excited about that. So guys, go ahead and save some of your milk cartons or milk jugs that you have on hand and just try to use this method, the winter sow method, even though I am very late doing this, but we have a couple of weeks left of cool weather, so it will work. Just remember, it's not for your warm weather seeds or plants. Guys, Thanks for joining me today, and make what you have beautiful.